Hey guys, what's up? It's me, Thomas. Today we're here back with Food Theory, and tonight, this one's a holiday. Your Christmas cookies are killing Santa. Well, time for another child ruining one, I guess. Oh boy, I feel bad. Well, as they say, without any further ado, let's go see what's going on here and see why the cookies are killing Santa. I'm not sure if it's just health problems or just overeating. I don't know. We're about to find out. So be sure to like, subscribe for more. Hope you enjoy. Let's check it out.
Mommy, why do we leave out milk and cookies for Santa?
Well, Santa has a long journey ahead of him, and our little treat helps make his journey a little bit better. Now, good night. Santa won't come if you're not asleep.
Oh.
Santa? I made these for you.
Ho, ho, ho!
Oh God, he does not look good.
You're the kid from
are you drunk?
internet who's
Either that or food
Gregory
coma.
from FNAF is a robot. Oh, you've been very
You good?
naughty.
Oh. Yeah, that's bad.
This is gonna give me some deep emotional scars, isn't it?
When have your theories ever not left scars? Ooh, theory fresh out of the oven. Sweet. Oh. Cool.
Hello, Internet! Welcome to Food Theory, the show that decided a long time ago that if overanalyzing holiday traditions in the name of science was naughty, then we don't want to be nice.
Fair enough.
Tis the season of Christmas time eating traditions, my friends. That magical time of the year where you have your one obligatory sip of eggnog, where you lick a candy cane until it's pointy enough to act as a shiv, where you wait in a line that wraps around the block just so you can bring home a hunk of ham dipped in honey where half the thing is just fat. Ah, eating during the holidays is great, but no holiday eater is quite as prodigious as the man in red himself,
Santa!
St. Nicholas. I mean, here in the States, it's tradition to leave out a plate of cookies and a glass of milk for Santa Claus to refuel between household visits. In my house, the cookie tradition was the Oreo, and Santa preferred them double stuffed. And now that I'm a parent passing on that tradition, well, my mind did that thing that my mind tends to do.
Overanalyze
again, friends. Asking the very scary Christmas question, if kids around the world are all leaving out food and drink for Kris Kringle, wouldn't that start to add up to, like, I don't know, an unhealthy and dangerous degree? Like, wouldn't it kill him? How many pounds of cookie weight is Santa putting on in a single night? Could he survive that sort of caloric onslaught? So, you know what I had to do. I had to deck them halls with math. And let me tell you, after crunching numbers, cookies are the least of Santa's concerns. It's not the sugar that's gonna get him, it's the alcohol. Loyal theorists.
Alcohol? Am I missing something here? Okay. I'm curious. What? Alcohol? I didn't know chocolate chips had alcohol in them. Or I guess it depends on the cookies, really. I mean, I'm not sure I was gonna do this, but yipe. Anyway, let's just see how many cookies Santa's eating.
After today, you're never gonna want to fly on Christmas Eve again. And it's got nothing to do with elevated holiday pricing and everything to do with a drunken sleigh weaving wildly through the air. So, how's Santa gonna fare in his famous flight? It's time to go. So, we're all familiar with Santa's Christmas time cruise around the planet, right? Every December 24th, Santa hops in his sleigh with his reindeer and his mountain of presents and circumnavigates the globe, delivering gifts to all the good little boys and girls. It's an incredibly daunting task to deliver all those presents in one night. How does he do it? Do we even have a way of tracking Santa's whereabouts? Well, if tracking flying objects is your aim, then let me introduce you to the North American Aerospace Defense Command, or NORAD. NORAD is a binational organization between the US and Canadian militaries, meant to track any man-made objects that may fly over continental airspace, whether it's missiles, rockets, or Santa Claus. You see, NORAD and its predecessor began tracking the whereabouts of Santa Claus all the way back in 1955, when a local Sears ad posted a phone number for children to call in and speak with Santa. Little problem with that though, one of the digits in the ad was wrong, which led to dozens of children trying to call Santa Claus and instead getting put through to US Air Force Colonel Harry Shoup, who ended up playing along with the whole thing and started a tradition that continues to this very day. Every year, NORAD tracks the whereabouts of Santa Claus on its website over the entire night. So what's that trek entail? Well, according to the NORAD website, which again, it is a military website that we're using as a source to track track Santa's flight, he starts his journey right at the International Date Line, the imaginary line in the Pacific Ocean that separates one day from another. Santa starts in the South Pacific, he heads through New Zealand and Australia, into Japan, the rest of Asia, Africa, Europe, and then finally finishes his journey in the Americas. He's able to hit every home in one night because he takes advantage of time zones. Just like how the eastern part of the world celebrates New Year's first, so too does it celebrate Christmas Eve before anyone else. By traveling west, this allows him to usually arrive at a home between 9 p.m. and midnight local time, according to NORAD. That means that he would start right at the International Date Line at 9 p.m. on the islands of Kiribati. He would then travel west, hitting every Christmas-observing home in the world before 11:59 p.m. local time in Hawaii. In total, that gives him 27 hours to make the entirety of the journey. Some sources that have attempted to calculate the scale of Kris Kringle's journey have given him a generous 31 hours by calculating from sunset in Kiribati to sunrise at his final destination. But if you know anything about kids, and trust me I do, they typically do not go to sleep right when the sun sets on a normal day, let alone the day right before they expect tons of presents to open the next morning. So that's the...
I mean, we all been there. Just like, no, I want to see Santa. I don't want to go to bed. Just, I think we all have memories of those moments, you know? But still don't know why I ate alcohol. Like, what kind of cookies the kids giving Santa? Like, what? Okay, let's just keep going.
The rough timeline we're working with, between 27 and 31 hours. But now the bigger and harder question, just how many houses are we talking about here? As you might imagine, there is a lot of disagreement about how many homes Santa actually visits during his Christmas Eve journey. Sources as to the number of homes Santa visits in one night range from 132 million homes, according to ABC News, to 396 million houses, according to the Washington Post, to the absolutely insane 640 million homes, according to the Daily Mail. So, considering the huge range of estimates possible here, what's our methodology for this thought experiment going to be? Well, for each country that we look at, we're going to do our best to get a sense of what children in that country leave out for St. Nick. We're then going to use the latest data on population, religion, and birth rate to figure out how many homes Santa needs to stop at. In order to do all of this, we're going to have to mix and match some sources and make a lot of assumptions to get to the grand total. For example, while Christmas is a Christian holiday, many people who don't normally identify as Christian do celebrate Christmas, especially when it's popular to do that in their country. Take, for instance, the United States. Only 64% of Americans identify as some form of Christian, but an estimated 93% of Americans actually celebrate Christmas, according to a Gallup survey. So, you know, we're gonna have to resort to some back-in-the-napkin calculations to get some of these estimates. Also, I should probably acknowledge that Christmas is not celebrated by all Christians the same way around the globe. For example, many Orthodox Christians don't celebrate Christmas on December 25th, but rather early January, and thus wouldn't be expecting a visit from Santa on Christmas Eve. Also, there are several Christian denominations like Quakers and Jehovah's Witnesses who don't celebrate Christmas at all. TLDR, we're just gonna use the best data we can to try and guess how many households celebrate Christmas in a particular country. From there, we're gonna take the caloric intake to figure out what exactly is filling up Santa's belly full of jelly. So with all those logistics out of the way, it's time to start this journey in the same place that Santa starts his, in the South Pacific Ocean. As Santa flies his sleigh from his North Polian workshop, he looks down at the millions of homes that he's about to visit. He takes a deep breath because he knows that the next 27 hours are gonna be rough. But it's for the children, he says under his breath. After a quick trek through the South Pacific Islands, Santa arrives at his first major country, New Zealand. In a typical New Zealand home, children don't leave out milk and cookies, they leave a pint of beer and some pineapple chunks, all to help him cool off, because remember, we're talking about the summer heat of the southern hemisphere in December. According to the government of New Zealand, there's approximately 1,415,200 family homes in New Zealand as of 2023. However, we couldn't find reliable data on the number of people who celebrate the holiday, so we're just gonna have to guesstimate using information from the CIA World Factbook. Yeah, that CIA. They have the premier catalog of demographic information about population size, geography, and most critically for us, religion. According to the CIA, approximately 37.3% of Kiwis identify as Christian, meaning that of those 1.4 million family homes in the country, we expect there to be 527,870 homes that expect a visit from St. Nick. Like I said earlier, that's probably an undercount, but we're just gonna roll with it. So 527,870 homes, all leaving a pint of brewski and a serving of pineapple. If we approximate a serving of pineapple as about half a cup, or 41 calories, that's 21 million calories of pure pineapple. 52,000 whole pineapples. And already we're way more than Santa's stomach can hold, considering the maximum size of a person's stomach is 4 liters. And that's not even talking about the alcohol. Leaving aside the insane
I mean,
volume
it does
of
go on
liquid
with
and the
chimney,
additional
so-
calories from all that beer, Santa is gonna be sloshed. According to the NORAD
Yeah.
website, Santa's approximately 5 foot 7 inches tall and weighs in at
3 inches
260
shorter than me.
pounds when he starts his journey. Based on
And
that
a lot lighter.
information, after
Oof.
consuming over 500,000 pints of beer, Santa's blood alcohol count, which at this point is basically just pure alcohol, is at a
Yes, he'd be
staggering
dead.
14,000%. You know, that's just a mere
Yeah, he'd be dead
360,000
before he went to
times the legal
Zealand.
limit to be flying an aircraft. And now we know the true reason that Santa needed Rudolph to guide his sleigh tonight.
Yeah.
Remember, all these numbers are just calculating his first major country. If you add up all the calories between the pineapple and beer, Santa is leaving New Zealand consuming a monstrous 147 million calories. He just gained himself 42,000 pounds.
Holy
Not gonna be fitting through too many more chimneys, just say that. After New Zealand, Santa doesn't have much time before he heads off to Australia. Over in
Unless
Oz,
his
kids
caloric
leave out a
intake's
plate
like-
of cookies and yet another pint of booze.
Just what I needed.
Of Australia's
Mario.
approximately 10 million households, at least 50% of them will be expecting a visit from
half and
St.
half.
Nick. So Santa is now on the hook for yet another 5 million glasses of beer.
Jesus
And if he just
Christ.
goes for the bare minimum 1 cookie per house, then he's due to eat the equivalent of over 147,000 full containers of Chips Ahoy. Santa leaves Oceania having eaten the astonishing 1.9 billion calories and having drunk 5.5 million pints of beer. Santa's next stop is Asia, thankfully, because it kind of gives him a bit of a break. Many countries here either don't believe in Santa, or even in the majority Christian nations like the Philippines, they don't typically leave out anything for St. Nick. So that means that we're gonna skip over Asia, which allows Santa some valuable time to burn off the calories and booze that he accumulated at the start of his journey. Heading over to Africa, much like Asia, there isn't a clear set of Santa-based traditions. While Santa will leave presents for all the good children of Africa, he is spared from more food. But don't get too comfortable there, Santa, because you're heading over to Europe next, and things are about to escalate.
Oh,
First,
God.
we're gonna stop over in the UK. British children leave out
yeah,
a nice
Brexit, of
mince
course.
pie and a glass of sherry for St. Nick.
Sherry?
And can I just say, what is it with Britain and all their former colonies just trying to liquor up Santa Claus? Getting him tipsy is not gonna suddenly get you on the nice
They
list.
planted like to the
With an
catch 'em.
estimated 29.5 million homes in the UK and about 59.5% being Christian, that's 17.5 million glasses of
Jesus.
sherry and mince pies that he now needs to wolf down.
Mince
At
pies?
447 calories a pie and 156 calories per glass of sherry, that brings our calorie count to 13 billion and 14.7 million pints of beers worth of alcohol.
Of course
Next,
at
make
this
a quick
point.
jaunt over to Ireland, where I think you might already be able to guess, they leave
Let me
out
guess,
a pint
Guinness?
of Guinness
There
and
you go.
another mince pie. Adding this in for the 1.5 million Santa-expecting Irish homes, Santa heads to mainland Europe after reaching 14 billion calories and the equivalent of 16 million pints of beer. Thankfully, this also means the end of his booze cruise, considering none of the other countries we're going to discuss add to the death of his liver. Next, Santa gets a break as he heads to the Netherlands, Germany, and Denmark, which all avoid the tradition of gorging Santa on food and drink. Santa's break from food, though, doesn't last long, considering Santa reaches Italy, where he eats a single clementine at each of the estimated 20 million
Not
homes on
too
the
bad.
list. Even at 35 calories per clementine, this adds an additional 707.5 million calories to the total. Then comes Latvia, where Santa will eat 179 million calories from Latvian piparkūka, which are a type of gingerbread cookie. Next, in each of about
no drink, I guess.
33,358 Icelandic Christmas homes, Santa will
got?
be eating a piece of,
What is this?
how to pronounce this?
Leverpre-
Let's just call it leaf bread, shall we? Anyway,
Leaf
leaf
bread.
bread,
Okay,
which
yeah,
tastes like a
that sounds
crispy
right.
wafer at 183 calories a pop, adds an additional 6.1 million calories, bringing our grand total to
Oh, I think I'm about
15
puked just
billion.
hearing this.
14,911,895,843 if you want to be exact. Our European tour finally is going to finish off here in Sweden. Swedish children leave out a nice warm cup of coffee for Santa, which should help him both warm up and sober up. The 2.799 million cups of coffee left out for him would end up being super dangerous for Santa. While a cup of coffee isn't a ton of calories when it's taken black at about 1 calorie per cup, there would be 95 milligrams of caffeine in each of those nearly 3 million cups. With a lethal dose of caffeine at about 200 milligrams per kilogram of body mass, our 118 kilogram
did.
Santa will have had enough caffeine to reach over 11,000 times the lethal dose in just Sweden. Santa's deadly journey then ends in the Americas. Santa Santa's main food stop in South America is Chile, where he has pan de Pascua, or Chilean fruitcake. This 400-calorie South American treat adds 1.7 billion calories to our grand total. Santa then reaches his final destinations in the good old US of A and Canada for some classic cookies and milk. And fittingly enough, most of the calories that Santa consumes during his entire trip happen here in North America. 93% of Americans and 87% of Canadians participate in Christmas. That means if we're generous and say Santa eats only one cookie and a glass of milk per house, that is an additional 29,187,947,702 calories, which ends up absolutely decimating our grand total. After crunching all the numbers, after just looking at about a dozen countries around the world, we now have a total caloric intake for our main man, Father Christmas. 12 drummers drumming. Drumroll, please. In total, Santa consumed 45,800,145,978 calories, or about 18,320,000 times what the USDA recommends an adult male eats in a given day. Besides being full, Santa would also have himself a blood alcohol content of 21,162,660%, which is just a mere 53,000 times the lethal limit. So it seems pretty darn clear at this point that our main man Santa Claus ain't gonna survive his trip to December 25th. Let's just tally up all the different ways that we know for sure that Santa's dead. Completing Santa's journey may cause critically high caloric intake, stomach explosion, alcohol poisoning, caffeine poisoning, several heart attacks, excessive G-forces from traveling near the speed of light, dramatic changes in temperature from quickly going from the northern to southern hemispheres, too many MatPat puns, wild changes in oxygen levels at high altitudes. Seems pretty darn clear to me that Santa is a dead man slaying. So this Christmas, my friends, do me a favor. Don't leave cookies out for Santa Claus, or coffee, or pipperkuka, or... yeah, that thing. If you value having Christmas next year, let's all spare the man some of those killer calories, shall we? As for the alcohol, you can put that one away on the shelf too. Even though he seems more than capable of handling his liquor, the last thing we want is for Saint Nick to be drinking and flying. But hey, that's just a theory. A food theory. Merry Theorymas to all, and to all a good night. And hey, if you want to learn how...
Hey, we all know how to do it. So, yeah. Yeesh. Like, over 40 billion calories. Youch. Now, like I said, he's dead before he even leaves New Zealand. Like, I wonder if he uses, like, a magic to, like, I don't know. Like, I mean, I'm trying to just, like, justify it all, but, yipe. I got nothing. What do you think? Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed that one. I need a break. Till next time, guys, like, subscribe for more. I'll see you guys around. Adios.